a lot of us are accidental CEOs, but that doesn't mean we're not successful CEOs and intentional CEOs. So that was just the beginning of our journey.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so happy you're here with us today as we have an incredible guest joining us, Nata Salvatori. How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Becky, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation and to pour into your audience.
Oh, well, you're amazing. I'm just really excited to share a little bit about your story. And I think the content that you're going to share in this episode is going to resonate so much with our listeners as they're kind of, trying to figure out balance and burnout and delegation and all of these things that you end up having to do when you're running a business. And I love that you call yourself the accidental CEO because I think so many of us are like, oh, yeah, like this, I mean, it was by design, it was planned, but like maybe it didn't, this was not officially in the roadmap. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your story and how you kind of came up with the positioning of the accidental CEO.
Yes, I absolutely love how this name resonates with so many people. A lot of us that are just entrepreneurs, we're not set up to be that from the get-go. A lot of us have had a job before, somewhere in corporate world, and for some reason and another, one way and another, ended up finding ourselves with this business of our own that we have to run now. So, a lot of us are accidental CEOs. But that doesn't mean we're not successful CEOs and intentional CEOs. So that was just the beginning of our journey. And I know I was in healthcare before for 10 years before I became an entrepreneur myself. And again, had no intentions of doing this. I was gonna die a physical therapist. That's what I wanted to do. And I had zero plans of having my own business. And here we are now running seven different businesses and teaching other
Seven.
people,
Oh my
how to
gosh.
survive. So it happens to a lot of us.
It is, yeah, I feel you on that. Until you're actually in it and doing it, you don't even realize how many different hats that you're wearing and how many different moving pieces there are in a business until you kind of step into that entrepreneur role and you're like, oh gosh, I have to think about social media and production and finance and legal and all of these other things that are being thrown at us. And I think for many of us, our business is our baby. And I think a lot about
Mhm.
motherhood and like you step into being a mom and you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. Right.
Yeah.
So I think for business ownership, there's a lot of parallels. And like motherhood, burnout is very real, especially when it is your baby and your business that you're pouring into. I can remember years of just always thinking business 24/7 and wanting to
Yeah.
work my business all the time and touch my business all the time and be thinking business all the time and being able to create a balance that is sustainable is something you really have to learn, I think, for many accidental CEOs. So,
Mhm.
did you have a moment where you kind of experienced that, or how did you step into this calling of really helping entrepreneurs escape burnout?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of what I speak of today is because I went through it myself. So I've been in your shoes, know that. So I hit that wall myself, have felt that burnout, working late nights, missing family moments, feeling like I had to do everything on my own or things will fall apart. Like I've gone through all of the things that
Yeah.
we talk about, that we're going to talk about today and that I talk about all the time. And I remember sitting on my desk on a Sunday night thinking, like, if I have to keep running at this pace, do I
Yeah.
even want to do this? Do I even want this business anymore? And, that definitely became a turning point together with some ball drops. Like I dropped the ball a few times in one of my business because it was just too much going on for me to handle on my own. And that was just devastating to me because I'm such a professional and responsible and accountable person. And like dropping the ball with my clients was like devastating to me. So I had to
Yeah.
be very real and, come to the conclusion that I had to stop doing it all myself. Like I needed to ask for help. And that asking for help was not necessarily a sign of weakness, it's a sign of just smart leadership. Like we just have to recognize that you can't do this alone. So I made it my mission to really figure out a good system that can be reproduced, that I can teach people. And that's what I do today and why I'm so passionate about, teaching people how to use delegation as a sustainable growth strategy for their business.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I don't love the burnout part of that story, but I think for many people, it's like, is it worth it? Like, can I continue
Mhm.
doing this if I'm feeling at the end of the day just completely drained, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think especially for women in business, right? We are wearing a lot of hats, right? We're moms, we're business owners, we're volunteering, we are friends, we have wives, we're doing all
Yeah.
of these different things and managing a lot of different roles. And in our community here at Modern Direct Seller, a lot are still working a 9 to 5 corporate job and then
Hmm.
building a business and the nooks and crannies or the evenings and weekends and trying to kind of build something up before they're ready to fully jump into entrepreneurship. So, I mean, is there such a thing as balance? Like, do you believe in balance? I know that we talk about that a lot. Like, does this even exist? Is it possible? What does that look like?
I think that's the most cruel concept that was ever introduced to us. It
I love
is
your honesty.
so impossible. It is just
Yeah.
inachievable. Like we work so hard to try to achieve this, you know, unicorn of a balance that we're supposed to have. And when you think of the word balance, you're thinking, proportionally distributed energy and focus and attention to at least two different things. In my case, a lot more than that. So
Yeah.
it's just not possible. It puts us into a state of constant burnout and running after things that are just you can't achieve. So what I propose to people very often is to think of this concept of work-life integration and just relieve yourself of this guilt that we put on of like having to be everything to everybody everywhere and be the best you can be at what you're doing at this point, right? So if I'm spending time with my kids right now, I'm going to be present. I'm going to do the best I can. If I get an email on my phone
Yeah.
that is a quick answer and is not going to disrupt the flow of me playing with them, answer that email and then move
Hmm.
on with playing with your kids without putting yourself into that guilt moment of like, oh my gosh, I'm taking away time from my kids. You're not. It's 2 minutes. They don't even care. They don't want to be with you that long. Like, let's just be real, right?
Yeah.
So spend that time with them. And then if I'm at work and one of my kids need me for anything, need me to help with a sandwich or whatever it is, they know that they can knock on my door and walk in here and ask for help. And I'm okay to step away from my business for 5 minutes to help my
Yeah.
kids without feeling like everything is falling apart. So think of this concept of integration of something that is fluid that you can come in and out of
Hmm.
without carrying guilt with you.
Yeah.
And you're gonna feel so much better, I'm telling you. Just
I love
practice
that.
that, like, it's okay to get things done in between and, interlaced at the same time and not have such hard barriers sometimes. I feel like that brings a lot of this, like, guilt in trying to make yourself be everything everywhere you are. Just be more, give yourself more grace, right? And
Yeah.
I've been there. I done the 9 to 5 at the same time that I was building my business on the side. So I've done that. And I remember putting my kids to bed and then sitting down on my computer at 10 p.m. and starting to work on my business into 2 or 3 in the morning and then going at it the next day at my regular job,
Yeah.
from 8 to 5. So it's okay to have that hustle phase in your life,
Mhm.
but then let's prepare for a time where you have a business that supports you and that works
Mhm.
for you and that is not running you down.
Oh, I love that. So much of what you said, I resonate with there. Work life integration, right? I think that that's a
Yeah.
really great theme to kind of carry with and letting go of that guilt of everything has to be compartmentalized. I think that is so huge. And I think the other thing that is resonates a lot with me too is having a business that's working for you and
Mhm.
knowing that that's going to be the ideal. And you might be in a season of hustle, but that might not be a forever season. And maybe it
Yeah.
shouldn't be a forever season because I've also been there. And I think, I like to say a lot that you're building a business around your lifestyle, right? Like it's
Mhm.
not you're building your lifestyle around your business. It's the other way around. It's got to serve the lifestyle that you want to create. But I also had seasons where I had to be present with a toddler or they were going to choke on something or they were going to fall off the
Yeah.
couch and I couldn't be distracted by work and I
Yeah.
had to be 100% on with them all the time. We're in a different season now. My kids are going into fifth and seventh grade, and like they're hopefully not choking now. Hopefully, there's other issues for sure, but it's a different season for us. So I'm working when they're at school, and I'm getting to sleep at a more reasonable time these days. And I
Mhm.
think my body needs it. I need to sleep more these days. So I think just those seasons that you're rolling through, being fluid and knowing that it's maybe not going to forever be this way, but this
Yeah.
is what it looks like right now. And as you shift into a new season, things might look different. And for any moms, educators that are listening, we're rolling right into back to school season. So for many, this is also a season of shifting in terms of what your day to day looks like, or what
Mhm.
your evenings look like, or your after school sports calendar looks like, or school activities. And so probably coming in at the perfect time. So let's
Absolutely.
let's talk about delegation because I know that you're big on delegation as a growth strategy to really get to where you want to be. So tell us a little bit about why that's essential.
Yes, call me your delegation queen. That's me.
I love
So
it.
you can't scale your business if you are the bottleneck.
Yeah.
Every hour that you're spending on tasks that someone else could be handling, it's time that you're not spending on your vision, your strategy, your revenue-driven work. So delegation is not just about getting that help, it's about creating that capacity for you to be a better leader, right?
Mhm.
There is, I think, some very essential components of it. The first one is mindset. That's the one that a lot of people get stuck on. So understanding what kinds of mindset and limiting beliefs you need to work on to be able to delegate comfortably, and
Yeah.
then understanding what to delegate, how to delegate, who to delegate to, and how to keep it going in a way that you can continue to grow within that delegation concept. So, I think those are the few essentials when it comes to delegation. And a lot of people try to skip some steps or do things kind of halfway. And that's why I hear it so often like, oh, I've tried that and it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Well, let's ask some more questions here. Have you really tried to understand what you need to delegate and then who to delegate to and how to delegate? So there's a lot of aspects of it that if you don't have a good system around it, are not gonna, turn into a successful delegation. So build a good structure around it, understand it, change that mindset, and then enjoy the results of that free time you're gonna have at the end of
I
the
love
week.
that. I love that. I'm a big delegator. People probably say like, "Oh yeah, give Becky the job and she's going to go like pass it off to a few other people to get some extra help on it." But I would say that that is a skill that I've learned over time
Yeah.
versus being the one that wants to do all the things. And I think for some people, they worry that nobody's going to do it as good as me. Or what if I delegate it to someone and they drop the ball? And there's kind of those trust issues that might come up that maybe the work isn't going to get done if it will be delegated.
Yeah.
Any advice to those that are like, I'm the best. I'm not sure I can trust somebody else with my business.
Yeah, again, I've said that out loud myself many
Yeah.
times. I've said that to my business coach. There's no way I'm going to delegate that. Like, nobody can do that as well as I can. Nobody knows my business as well as I do. And it's a very, very common, fear that I hear from my clients when I coach. So
Yeah.
the truth is, I try to remind people done your way and done well are
Hmm.
not always the same thing.
Oh, okay. Say more on that.
Yes, yes. So you can hold on to high standards. That's completely fine. You should do that, but without holding all the work for yourself.
Yeah.
You can start with those low stake tasks that really build the trust over time, both on your team and in your own ability to let go, which is again, not an easy thing to do. Easier said than done, right? Like
Yeah.
this is your baby. This is the thing you put so much time and effort into. But there are a lot of tasks that need a brain. They just don't need your brain.
Hmm.
As the founder and CEO of your company, you need to be putting your time and energy and efforts into those high level tasks that are going to help you grow your business. They're going to bring revenue and let somebody else do the things that you probably don't enjoy doing. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Did you start this business to send emails and schedule meetings
Yeah.
and share Zoom links? That's not what you're doing this for. You probably have a zone of genius, which is where you should be spending your time. And
Hmm.
all these other low-level admin tasks can be taken off your plate so you can actually wear that CEO hat that you're supposed to wear.
I love that. I love that. I think my favorite kind of delegation is when I realize that somebody else is actually a lot better at it than me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There are certain tasks in my business these days that I'm like, you're right. I should not be involved in that because I know that you can get that done in a more efficient way, in a
Yes.
more strategic way. And that's my favorite is when you realize, like, oh, yeah, that's why you bring in other people to support you, is they have
Yeah.
expertise in areas that maybe you don't have expertise in. So that's always fun.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about budget for delegation
Yeah.
because I know many solopreneurs, small business owners, they might be listening right now and they're like, well, yeah, this sounds great. Like, I don't want to schedule my Zoom meetings. I don't want to be sending out my emails. I don't want to be managing my social, but I'm not quite there yet. Or I don't quite yet have the revenue to justify hiring somebody to work with me. So, any suggestions for anyone that might be in kind of that in between space where they're like, yeah, that sounds dreamy, but like, where's the money going to come from? How am I going to actually make this happen?
Yeah, so I have a two-part answer to this question. I love this objection because it's
Hmm.
such a beautiful lie we tell ourselves. So here's the thing, if you're waiting for wealth to start delegating, you have it backwards.
Mm.
Delegating is what's going to allow you to actually make more money to grow your business. So I tell people all the time, and I show it, like we do math.
Hmm.
With like you're costing so much more to your business by not delegating than you will ever spend by hiring somebody to do these tasks. If you really truly understand how to run a business and you know your cost of doing business and you understand how much you cost to your
Hmm.
business. So let's say you cost $100 an hour, right, to your business to do whatever it is that you do. And you're spending 10 hours a week doing those low-level tasks. That's a lot of money at the end of that
Yeah.
week and at the end of that month and at the end of that year. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want that employee in my company. And a lot of times that's us, like, right? We're the ones costing money to the company. And, so we
Hmm.
need to understand that cost of doing business, how much we're costing by not delegating, and understand that if you're hiring somebody for $15 an hour, and by the way, you can find it for even less, you're actually going to be making money because you're freeing up your time to go network with somebody, to go collaborate, to go generate those leads, to go generate content that will generate clients. Like there's so much you can do to make that money. So that's my first part to
Yeah.
that question is understand that you're costing so much more by not delegating than you ever will. And you don't have to wait for the money to start delegating. And then start with something small. That's the second part.
Hmm.
I'm not telling you to go out there and hire a full-time employee. That is
Right.
not the way to do it.
Hmm.
Hire somebody on a contract basis, in a per hour basis that is interested in getting some money and delegate that one little thing that is repetitive in your workload and that you feel confident somebody else could do it with some good instructions.
Yeah.
Record that Loom video. I
Hmm.
love using Loom as an example and, talk them through the task and send it over and start with something small. And then you're going to feel how it goes. And then you're going to learn. And then you're going to feel more confident to delegate that next task. So I'm not telling you to go out there and hire a full-time employee. That is not a way to go. But you also should not be waiting to be swimming on money before you start delegating.
Right. Oh, I love this. I think back to maybe the first person I hired, and it was very contractual. Like, in fact, our
Mhm.
team, even as it exists today, we have a lot of very part-time contractors that support us in very
Yeah.
specialized areas of our business. Other than my husband and I, we don't have any full-time employees that are on the books, right? Everything is kind of parsed out to different people. But I remember that first person, it was hiring an assistant for 5 hours a week. And it was like taking order information over here, putting it into a Trello board over there, making sure my follow-up game with some of these clients that were coming in was on par. And it did take a little bit to be like, okay, I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna let somebody else manage that. Because
Yeah.
I think initially you're thinking, what are my clients gonna think if they don't hear from me directly? Or what if that person sends something to the wrong person and messes things up? But once I realized that wasn't gonna happen and I had the right person doing the job
Mhm.
and they were able to take that weight off my shoulders, I think it created the snowball of like, oh, what else can I pass off? Okay, let's take this part of the business. Can you help me with that? Right. I even remember the early days of hiring like a high school student to come over and help
Yeah.
me ship things out in the mail or help me organize inventory that I had on hand or some of those projects that other people could very much do. So I love the idea of just starting small,
Hmm.
starting with a project and doing the math on it because that's the other thing. Even just most recently, and I've been doing business for a while now, I was kind of like not sure if I was going to make a hire. And my husband and I did the math and we were like, well, okay, if that's going to take 5 hours a week off my plate and I can refocus those 5 hours in some of these more strategic conversations, partnerships that I'm working on, things like that. Okay, we can justify
Yeah.
that additional expense or really look at it as an investment in our business.
Absolutely.
So
It's definitely an investment.
I feel like it's a muscle that you kind of have to flex and get practice doing that because if
Hmm.
you're not in the pattern of delegating or if you've never done that before, it can feel a little intimidating or a little scary.
Yeah.
So, are there specific tasks that when you're working with other entrepreneurs, you're like, okay, let's look at what you have going on. Why don't you start with this, or that? Are there some simple things that you find kind of on repeat that would be a good place to begin when it comes to delegation?
Yeah, I like to give a couple of examples to people, and one of them is actually thinking outside of your business, right? So, one of the things that I delegated very early in my life was cleaning my house. Like, I have a team that cleans my
Yeah.
house for me. And oh my gosh, I could spend, and it's not that I don't like it. I actually like cleaning. Don't tell anybody. But I actually enjoy cleaning. I like a clean, organized house.
Yeah.
But for me to clean my house, it would take me a few hours. It would take me my whole Saturday, right? So I work during the week and I want to spend the weekend with my family. So
Yeah.
why would I not, instead of again spending my precious, expensive time cleaning
Yeah.
my house, instead of, just hiring somebody to do that. So you can start delegating in your personal life and see how awesome that feels that you're not the one having to do all that work and you can actually spend time with your friends and family and then pass that on to your business. And the first thing that I see that is very easy for people to delegate is accounting, right? Like the bookkeeping of your
Mm.
business.
Mm-hmm.
One, because it's not a skill that most of us have. It's
Yep.
easier to see delegation when it's not something that you know how to do and do it
Yeah.
well. Some of us are
Uh-huh.
good with numbers, and I love bookkeeping and I understand accounting, but it doesn't mean I should do it, right? It takes a lot of time, so that's a very comfortable first place for people to delegate because again, it's not a skill that they necessarily have. As
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, we have this mindset of like, oh, I can learn that. Like, I can learn that. I can do that. And we do that a lot. And that comes in a way of delegation many times. So I think starting with something where your skill set is actually not there
Not
is a
good at
little bit
that.
more comfortable. And
Yeah.
then moving into other smaller repetitive tasks that you can find in your business that are like low stake, like, maybe answering some emails or organizing your meeting, organizing your schedule and things like that.
I love it. Oh, those are great suggestions. And I love starting at home first,
Mhm.
maybe. I know we had a season where we had somebody that was helping us with meal prep,
Yeah.
and that was huge. And I feel like my kids were younger, and I realized everyone was just eating junk because nothing was chopped up or prepared or fresh or available. And we had somebody that helped with that for a little while. We had somebody that helped with laundry for a little while. I've probably gone through different seasons of managing the
Mhm.
home slash managing the business when
Yeah,
it
yeah,
comes to
yeah.
outsourcing or delegating certain things. But yeah, just being able to take that weight off of your shoulders. And so you can really focus on the strategic stuff is so, so cool. Okay, let me ask you this then. So we've talked about it. I feel like people are like, okay, like what could I delegate? Maybe who could I delegate to? How could I baby step into this? But maybe you can paint a picture for us of when you're practicing delegation, what does that look like in the day-to-day life of your business? You said you have multiple businesses
Yeah,
running
yeah.
and you've been doing this for a long time and you're supporting others and you've probably seen that transformation from like chaotic, I do it all myself, and maybe not everything's getting done to the best of its, or things just aren't getting done, to having a delegated business as a CEO, entrepreneur. How does that look and feel for you?
Yeah, I remember the first time I started delegating and had some free hours in the week. And you find yourself in this space of like, wow, like, what do I do now? Like, I have all this time I didn't have before. What do I
Yeah.
do with all these hours? And one of the things I did was to bring learning back into my routine because you do a lot of that in the beginning as you're starting your business. You have to learn so many different things. You wear all these hats and you're still learning how to run your business that goes beyond that really good skill that you have that it caused
Yeah.
you to create the business. So, but then once you start grinding and just you're in the everyday hustle, time for learning goes out the window. Like you stop
Mhm.
growing, developing like professional development and all the learning that goes into being an expert. So that was the first thing I brought back. And I have my Thursday mornings are my learning,
I
days.
love that.
And that's when
Yeah.
and that's the time that I can now actually sit and go listen to that podcast that I want to listen to, or read that
Mhm.
book that somebody mentioned, or go check this website, or like just look for information to help me grow professionally and personally. So that was a really fun thing to just realize and feel when I started delegating. So a lot of my day to day is, spent on those strategy calls, content
Mhm.
creation, and some relationship building, all things that at the end of the day are going to grow, help my business grow and generate revenue, and are things that I should be doing and I like, enjoy doing, and should
Yeah.
spend my time and energy so they don't burn me out. They don't drain my energy. They actually energize me because those are things that are, fun and things that are. You love doing it. That's why you started this business. And then my team
Mhm.
handles all the moving parts behind the scenes. So instead of like putting out fires and I'm steering the ship. I'm not like trying to spend my time on the little things because when the little things are taking most of your attention, that's when you're in trouble. So it
Mhm.
feels a lot more calm and clear, and you feel like you're in command, which is not how we feel most of the time. We're in the hustle and doing it all by
Yeah.
ourselves.
Well, I feel more calm and clear just talking to you.
Hi,
So,
right?
like, what else can I delegate? Let me think about this for a
Mhm.
moment. No, really, I do. I love this conversation. And I think that this is so relevant no matter if you're at the very beginning stages of your business and just trying to figure out what you're doing and how you're growing and what you like doing and what you don't like
Yeah.
doing, or very relevant to an established business owner that maybe has been doing this for a long time, but probably for a long time taking on more than they should. So, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing all of these insights and really pouring into our community because I think we can all use a really good reminder of this every so often. So, before we wrap up, just a couple of fun little rapid fire questions, and then I'd love to hear how we can connect with you and how we can work with you. But tell me, is there a favorite book that you're reading since you've focused in on your learning days?
Yeah, I love Rising Strong by Brené Brown, and I kind of adapted some of the concepts on that book into my framework for delegation. So love
Okay.
that bridge, and like personal development goes long ways with business growth.
I love it. I love it. Do you have a favorite product that you're obsessed with these days? Like
I
something fun that,
do. It's
yeah. Okay,
very
tell me.
simple, and most of us have it, but my AirPods,
Yes.
they can turn that grocery shopping or walk into a walking mastermind. And I just love to be able to do things on the go. I'm all
Yeah.
about efficiency. So I just love having that.
Okay. I love it. And then we all love office supplies around here. So is there a favorite office supply that you cannot live without in your life?
Yeah, I need notepads. I write all kinds of notes and lists all the time. So I love having all kinds of it, all colors, and just having
All
fun
the
with them.
colors. I'm the same. I'm like, I need all the colors. And even though, I mean, we manage our business all online using a project management system, like I'm still that girl that has her
Good,
notebook in
good.
front of me with all my notes written down and multiple pens on my desk. I
Same.
definitely enjoy the paper pencil, even in the digital world that we're living in. So I feel
Agreed.
you on that. Oh my gosh. Well, tell us where we can connect with you. Where can we learn more? And how can we work with you?
Yeah, so I have a couple of places I like to send people to connect. I'm on Instagram a lot, so accidentalceo.co. Send me a DM. It's me in there. I'll be the one responding to you. Love to chat. I have a free community called the Accidental CEO Collective on Facebook. We'll love to have you
Love it.
there. And today we're actually launching my Delegation Secrets course.
Hey,
Yes, that
launch
has
day. Congrats.
Yes, thank you. That has all this framework that we were just talking about, and it teaches all the steps that you need. So I know Becky's going to share that link with you guys,
Yep.
but we'd love to have you guys check that out.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. We will definitely link to that in the show notes. If you love this episode, if you've identified something you'd love to delegate, you're going to have to send a message over on Instagram and tell us what your plan is to delegate first, because I think our wheels are turning, at least even mine are. I'm like, okay, all right, I got a little bit of work to do after this
I love
episode.
it.
So thank you so much for being here. This was incredible.
Thank you for having me.
This episode is sponsored by CintShare. CintShare is the #1 social media scheduler for direct sellers and loved by creators in any industry. It's truly your one-stop shop for all things social. Join hundreds of thousands of social sellers and entrepreneurs who turn to CintShare for free social media training and resources. Get started today with your free 30-day trial at moderndirectseller.com/CintShare.